Welcome to Behind the Doors, the podcast where we take you behind the scenes of residential real estate investing. I'm your host, Dan Noma Jr., here with my co-host, Marvin Cruz.
We're here to help you unlock the best strategies and practice for investors. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro looking to scale your portfolio.
We've spent decades navigating the ever-changing world of real estate, and now we're sharing everything we've learned to help you succeed.
From off-market deals to cash flow management and everything in between, we'll break it down and bring you actionable insights that can make a real difference in your investments.
So get ready to open the door to new opportunities and take your real estate investing to the next level. Let's dive in.
What's up, Dan?
What's going on, man?
Man, 2 days before Christmas. 2 days. You get all your shopping done, by the way?
Yeah.
Are you the last minute guy or are you?
No, I'm an online guy. I do everything
Amazon?
online. I don't like malls. I don't like shopping. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So I do everything online.
Yeah.
And it works out okay that way.
Yeah.
You know? It works out okay.
I'm a last minute guy.
Oh, lovely.
Right? But I'm actually really good at it.
Really?
Like, yeah, I can get all my shopping done for my family in one day. It's pretty easy. And then, by the way, we love gift cards, so that makes it a lot easier for everybody.
You go to the mall, or where do you go
I'm
get
all
it?
at the malls. Yeah,
You just knock it out at the mall,
just knock
one
it out,
shot,
and I'm
kids,
done.
everything.
Yeah, my family's pretty easy. Everybody just wants shoes, some clothes, and we're happy. And then give them a gift card so they can buy their own things, and we love it. We absolutely love it. And kids are easy.
Keep
We
it
just
simple.
buy a bunch of toys, and that's it.
What's the big present this year for the kids?
I think I'm gonna try this. Man, it's funny. This is a perfect segue to our topic today. But there's a robot out there for kids. I'm kind of nervous about it because one, I don't want them talking to a robot.
Yeah.
But I got to see this thing for myself because this robot is interactive and it's supposed to help them with education and all those things. So
What's he called?
I think, I can't think of the name right now.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll put that in the episode there later.
Yeah.
But there's a robot out there that I'm very, very interested in.
Remember when like the Tickle Me Elmo, like you had to sell one of your legs to get a Tickle Me Elmo before Christmas one year? Is he like that where it's hard to get?
And now we're talking about robots.
Mine was an electric bicycle. My son is very much into riding his bike to school. It's like a thing.
Yep.
Every day. And his buddies, one of them got an electric motorcycle or electric bicycle, and they can ride it as long as it has pedals to school. And he's been like dying. I mean, killing me for this electric bicycle, which I think is useless because aren't you supposed to ride a bike? Like, that's not what, I don't know.
That's the one thing I don't like about Christmas is the pressure, right? Every kid has it. Now my kid has to have it. And that's exactly that electric bike.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Right.
What we just had Segways 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now everybody's like, I don't ride a Segway anymore. I need an electric bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I say that it was interesting because that's our topic today is to talk about artificial intelligence.
Man.
And what the hell does that have to do with real estate? We're going to deep dive into that.
Yep.
But, one thing about me and you, we met back in 1999. And what's interesting about 1999 is we were still using pagers.
Whoa.
And two-way pagers just came out, if you remember that. And so fast forward, and there's a bunch of audience that probably never even seen two-way pagers, but they existed.
Yep.
And here we are with artificial intelligence, which is supposed to simulate human reasoning, human decision-making, and act as like a human to solve problems.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you...
It does a lot of stuff.
It does a lot.
It does a lot.
Are you scared of AI? Like, where are you at personally? Just talk about that for a second.
I'm all in. I love it. I think it's... I've just leaned into it. I think... I don't know that it'll like replace humans. And I think that's one of the things that people worry about is like, oh, this thing will take my
I'm
job.
gonna lose my job.
I don't know about that. I think that it'll create new jobs for people, like different jobs, right? But some of the jobs that they were doing before, sure, I think they will change as a result, or their job will get easier as a result of like using AI.
Right.
But I mean, in our industry, like I follow it a ton just to see where we're going. We obviously use it in our business a lot. Yeah. It's a big deal, man. And like, it's from an operational, place, we're saving a lot of money by leaning into the AI. And then our ability to process is higher. So I know we'll get into all that, but I don't know. To me, I'm all in. I think that it's got a place in the world for sure. And I've heard like some of the critics, I listened to Elon Musk quite a bit. And one of the things that he shared was like, it has to be controlled, right? Because you can teach it bad information too, right? And it can learn the wrong way to do things, or it could be kind of destructive. So I do think like some regulation around it is probably necessary. We're early, but I think it's going to be the new way for sure. I mean, there's no coming back at this point. We're going all in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so many people associate AI with losing jobs.
Yeah.
All the time. And, I always remind folks, if you use it right, you can actually educate yourself a ton and speed that whole entire process up. And obviously it creates new jobs. It just doesn't create the low-hanging fruit jobs that you're thinking of, but it actually creates even more technology jobs, more coding jobs, et cetera, like that. So I'm all in as well. But let's bring that back to our audience, right, and how they use real estate or how AI is used in real estate. So I know we use it here at Easy Street Offers, but share with folks that are listening now. I'm a mom and pop investor. I'm doing fix and flip. How are they thinking about AI, or how should they be thinking about AI? How do we bring those two worlds together?
Yeah. So I think the big thing to think about for the sake of real estate investment is that we've had, when I first started in real estate, we had the MLS, but Zillow didn't exist.
Yep.
Right. So the only data that we had was in the MLS. And you had to be kind of a wizard to know how to navigate it and find it too. It wasn't like it was just like readily available. Like the idea of looking back in time to see what these properties sold for 2 or 3 years ago wasn't that important then, because the data really wasn't that much available, and therefore no one really cared, and we existed, but then it didn't matter. Now, Zillow comes along and it puts the data in the hands of all consumers. Realtor.com, right? All of these big portal sites, you can go in there and you can now figure out the value of your home or a value of a piece of property for free. The data is, available. And, the skeptic would say, well, that's off, this is off, that's right. For sure. For sure. The data is not perfect. It is not. But what it allows you to do is it allows you to make a better educated decision on, which is like the problem that I'm like addicted to, which is, how do we solve this problem of making the best investment decision with like in the market completely. Right. So if I were to take like today in the MLS in Arizona, there's like 25,000 homes on the market. Okay. How do I take 25,000 homes plus all the properties that are off market and filter the best investments to the top? How would I do that if I didn't just look at 25,000 homes? How do I figure out which ones are the best so I can sleep at night knowing I made the sound investment decision? I mean, I built a life on that. That's my personal, like, I want to solve that problem. That's what I think AI allows us to get very close to, in a big way. And, so with the machine learning and its ability to create predictive analytics, you can analyze massive data sets, in like seconds compared to days or weeks. It's crazy. We used to analyze assets. When I first started working with the first single family REIT, we probably have people listening that worked for us that are in that time. I would assign each one of them like areas. And each one of them would be responsible for every new listing that came on the market in that area. And their job was to analyze that asset. And every asset that they analyzed took them 30 minutes to review to make a decision. We now at our company review 350 assets every 24 hours.
Yep.
350 assets every 24 hours. But those are the 350 that we've already filtered through all 25,000 to surface the best ones to the top. So really it's like we've looked at almost 30,000 assets before we are knowing which ones are the best ones. It's crazy how fast it's come, and what it allows us to do.
Yeah, it's my favorite conversation that I have with investors today, and especially when we're talking about easy street offers and showing them the benefits of that. My first conversation, how do you find inventory today? And how many times have you found inventory and did all the math just to get to the end and say, those numbers didn't work? Right. And you got to do that over and over and again. That's where we help. We take all that out, right? And we have AI backing that up. Right. But we also have human underwriters that look at it and scrutinize those numbers a little bit closer as well. And so, you got to have AI. It's going to make your world so much faster. But what's funny? We talked to Larry Fitzgerald back a few weeks ago, and how they use AI in sports now. Now you see it in sports too, where like, should we go for the 4th and 1 or kick the field goal? Well, statistics say do this.
Predictively.
Yep. And so he pulled something out though, is that you can get so caught up in the tool that you forget the feeling and the energy, like we can go do it. So talk to those investors like that are still on that fence of, like, I just really want folks to understand that there's no wrong here when you're looking at it from an investment perspective. Because in investing, you almost need to take your emotions out.
Yeah.
Right? Like we talked about it. When people come to Arizona, they want to buy in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
But is that the sound decision? And this is where AI and this is where tools like Easy Street can help.
Yeah, I mean that, you've heard me use that similar analogy a lot when I talk to like an audience of people. I'll share with them, like, I live in Phoenix. And when people come to Phoenix and they go, I want to invest in real estate, and they talk to a real estate agent in Phoenix and they go, I want to invest, the real estate agent's mind immediately goes to Scottsdale.
Yep.
And the reason is because it is nice in Scottsdale. It's like sexy to live in Scottsdale. There's restaurants, there's bars, there's nightlife, there's, entertainment. I mean, you name it, it's in Scottsdale, right? But the real estate's expensive, and the rental rates haven't matched the property values.
Right.
So while like the optics are good, from a like real estate fundamental standpoint, they're not that good. I mean, there are cases that there are, but generally speaking, it's not the best place to invest your dollar, right? So, you just have to decide like how you want to think about investing in real estate, And so I think there's like two schools of thought out there. There's like people that buy real estate because they like the sexiness factor of owning in Scottsdale. But then there's the guy that just wants a return on his dollar. And it doesn't matter where the asset is. If I'm getting a better return on my money, then I'll buy that. Yeah. That's like what the stock market is, right? The stock market allows you to trade and buy companies, but you don't have to like their product. You don't. How many people on Facebook that aren't Facebook users? Yeah. Like there's tons of them. Apple. A lot of people buy Apple stock but don't have any Apple products. Yeah. Verizon, like all of these companies that they buy because the yield is good.
That's right.
But they don't necessarily have to love the product themselves.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think I think that way in real estate. I think that way. I'm not saying that's the only way to think. I just think that's how I believe that way, is just like, if I can get a better return on my dollar buying out in Buckeye, then I'm going to buy out in Buckeye, because all I'm looking for is the best return on my dollar. Yeah. I could care less what it looks like. I just don't care. Yeah. I mean, I want it to function and do all those things, but I don't care where its location is, because that's the return that I'm looking for.
One of my favorite stories you share is when you first started. You had one problem to solve, and that was buy 1,000 homes.
2,000.
Yeah, 2,000 homes, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you had AI?
Oh my God, no.
Right? It's a game changer, right?
Yeah.
So when you think about sourcing for properties, how talk to us about that, how AI could help speed this up. So you're an investor, and the first thing you got to understand is what strategy you want to get into. What is the yield? What's the cap? What is the return you want on your investment? But now you have to go find that investment and AI can help you when it comes to property sourcing.
In seconds, right?
Yep.
Like versus days,
Yeah.
weeks, months, years. Yeah, I mean, the day that we flipped the switch and had to start buying, there was about 18,000 homes on the market at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We started with that, and we literally looked at 18,000 houses one by one and made a decision of whether or not it was a good investment or it wasn't based on our math and logic.
Right.
And we had very little data too, like super little data. We were basically deciding like, was the rental rate right? Was our rental or was our renovation estimate okay? And what was the current market value of the asset? And if we got those three things, plugged it into our little calculator, it would tell us if it was a move forward with an offer or don't move forward at all. Now, right, we do that same thing, but we quantify 3,700 different data points to make that same decision. Because what we've learned is that every single one of those data points matters.
That's right.
And some matter more than others, but they do matter, right? And so, I think like one of the unique ones that we share with our customers is that there's a direct relationship between school score and rental rate.
Yeah.
And when I tell investors that, they're like, what do you why? Why? I don't know, right? I don't know why, right? There are so many economic, demographic reasons why, but I can tell you that for certain, the higher the school score, the stronger the rental rate. Those two things are synonymous in every market that we've been to, and also relate to vacancy rate. And people go, okay, so school score matters, right? Because the school score matters to your tenant, your occupant that's going to live in the property. I mean, in 2006, 2007, when we started all of this, we were not worried about school score. We did not care about the school score. We didn't even know that it was a thing. The company that we used to score them didn't exist, right? So now that it does, how do we use that? Power lines, the distance to the power lines. Like I never would have thought we are using that as an actual quantifiable factor in a decision to purchase real estate, but we are, and we have to now. Now that we know it exists and it matters, we have to show our customers this, right? Like we have to surface that. And I think that that's what makes not just our product, but like any product that's using objective data to make a decision awesome. Is that, now we're doing it in a way that I could have a bad day, but the data doesn't lie, right? Like I could have gotten a speeding ticket in Buckeye and be so mad at Buckeye, but the math tells me that that's the market I need to buy in, and I'm okay with that. So you take all subjectivity out of it and make an objective decision based on math and true logic. Like now I think you're on to something totally different than where we started.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Real estate investment has so many complexities. Not only do you got to just find the right asset and make sure that you get the returns you want, but let's say you do fix and flip, right? Now you got to get the contractors and make sure that they do their work up to code. Let's say you do long-term. You got to get tenants in place. You got to budget for this. There's a lot of things that go into it. And that's where AI could really help, is just the operational efficiencies. It could do all these things for you. By the way, run background checks, credit worthiness of your tenants, et cetera. Things you still got to consider, right? So that's what I love about AI. It's just going to speed up everybody's efficiency. So for those that are listening, and I'll let you chime in here, don't be afraid of the tools, right? Don't be.
Yeah, the cool ones are like, like the dynamic pricing tools. Have you seen those where hotels, when you go on, let's say you go on like American Express Travel or Orbitz or whatever, they're all the hotel people are shopping the rate against each other. They're constantly shopping for your eyeball, just like the airlines. They're all price matching and they call it dynamic pricing. That's what they're doing. A few years ago, they came out with dynamic pricing in real estate for rental rates, both short-term and long-term, so that when there was a new comp, right, like a new price property, that was less than what you had priced yours at, that was the new market. And the tool moves your price to that new market price. So you don't have to be late to the party.
Yeah.
You're on the party. You're at the party immediately. Like those dynamic pricing tools, like if you're in short-term rental and you're not looking at dynamic pricing, like you've lost your mind. That tool is amazing to help you with keeping occupancy up and all of those things.
Yep.
Like long-term's a little bit different, but they use it and it works. Like those tools are sweet, man. Like I love that tool. I think that that's just such a cool option to have. It's like gas stations do that. You know, it's like you go driving down the road and they're all within like 2 cents of each other. It's because they've all price matched each other. You know, and so it's cool. I think that there's a ton to be had there.
Take the guesswork out. Let the AI do it for you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about. Well, I'm gonna let you talk about because I don't know enough about it. So, but I definitely want the audience because they're gonna hear about smart cities. You know a little bit about smart cities?
A little bit.
Can you share with the audience what that is and how that?
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about it, but maybe you can share a little bit about it on how AI is helping create these smart cities.
So I was on a call this week with a group that they have one of these in the state of Washington. We should include the link so you guys can check this out. But what this is now they've got about 5,000 homes in this area, this community. And what they've done is they've brought this community back to like the early, 1900s.
Okay.
So you live there and, it feels like yesteryear in the community, right? So, and everything is done using like AI tools. So like, for example, there's a milkman.
Okay.
Brings you milk to your house like that.
Yeah.
There's a mail carrier. The guy actually like drops the mail at your door.
Okay.
The kids work in the community and have jobs like dropping off the newspaper on their like newspaper roads.
Right.
There's a theater, right? That like that's the big event that everybody goes to. It's it's super, super different, a different way to live. But I think like what they're learning is that a lot of the ways that we currently live, like in the regular world, can be a little harmful or kind of dilute our perspective on stuff. Like my kids, for example, don't know what a encyclopedia is. They know what Wikipedia is, right? But they don't know. They wouldn't like if you challenge them to search something in an encyclopedia. They wouldn't know how to do it. And that's what this like whole thing's about. So, there's that's like one area of this, like where I'm seeing it, especially now, is like in the commercial buildings too, where all the access codes, like you employees, like security in these buildings have become a big deal, right? We've seen these shooters come out and shoot people, and it's crazy, right? But now, in order to get access to the community, they're using the retinal displays, right? And the retinal registry. So, you want to get into the building, it's all done by the AI looking at your retina to make sure that you're in and now knows you're there.
Yeah.
Your boss knows you're in the building. They know where you are. They're now tracking you through the whole thing. Like those connected buildings, that stuff is getting really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
Big brothered a little bit, a lot of it, I guess. But as long as you're not doing anything wrong, why should you care? Is how I think about it. I don't know. But yeah, it's cool. And then, what, you and I went to one of the driverless communities here in Phoenix or in Tempe that we went to. And, it's called cul-de-sac. And they don't have cars.
Yep.
Right? I mean,
Pretty cool.
And it's not cheap to live there. Like it's kind of expensive. But everybody there doesn't have a car.
Yep.
They have Teslas on site. If you need them, you can get them. But everybody there uses like Uber, Lyft. They have like discount codes with them and all of this stuff. Everything that they need is in the community. Their gym, their grocery store, their restaurants, all of their stuff is there, and the community thrives. And they all have little shops at the bottom of their thing. Like it works, and there's so much that's being done with all of that it's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I just came back from Cabo not too long ago, and they don't check your passport anymore. You
Yeah.
literally took a picture, and I was off.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's how it should have been the whole time. So there are so many upsides. There's so many benefits to AI.
Yeah.
But there is the other side. There is some challenges that people think about,
Yeah.
right? The one thing that scares people about the future is everything is out there.
Yeah.
Basically, with a couple of clicks, I know all about Dan Noma with
Yep.
just a couple of clicks. And that scares people. So, when you think about privacy concerns or AI, do you have any concerns? Or, as it thinks, I don't know, you may have personal concerns, but as it relates to real estate,
Yeah, I mean,
what's your thought?
I think that like, when it comes to like data, I don't necessarily want to like give up my tenants' information to the world.
Yeah.
I don't personally care if anybody knows what I rented my rental property for. Like, I don't really care if they know how much money I made on the flip or lost on the flip or whatever. None of that bothers me, so I don't know. I think a lot of people are like worried about stuff that, their opinion is that they are more important than they are. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that important. So I'm not trying to hide anything from the world out there. Like, obviously I don't want my social security number flipping around out there, but I'm not trying to hide anything, And so I think that, people that are afraid of like, my picture turning into an AI model and then being, converted into like, answering some specific questions at my bank and they're sucking money out. Like, I don't know. I think if someone was going to go through all that effort, they'd be doing it to like Bill Gates, not me. Like, why would they bother with me? So I don't know. I don't know. What do you think on that? Like do you think you got to be worried? Should I be more worried, I guess?
I kind of agree with you. Like, I sleep at night because I don't think anything. I'm not trying to do anything wrong. So I have nothing to hide, right? Like, I just don't. Like, I'm not a big Facebook guy. Like, I'm not there just because I don't know. It's just not my thing, but I have nothing to worry about. I love the technology. I love AI. I love just carrying around my phone, and I can pay everything with the phone, and I'm good. So to your point, if someone wants to attack me, they're not going to find much on my side, but it's okay. It's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some concerns like in our industry though.
Yeah.
And the concerns are like redlining, redlining or unfair tenant screening, because you could set up an algorithm that says, I don't want people with pink hair to rent my properties. And if you ask in a tenant screening question, what color is your hair? And it says pink, you automatically get eliminated. And that kind of stuff, I think, is we got to be really careful of. Like that stuff is where I think that these AI models, like you can teach them bias and you can teach them, you could teach them to be anything, right? And so I think you got to be really careful what you teach them. And, as long as you can be fair, then great, and you can't just be teaching them to be biased though, know? And I think like you got to give everybody a fair shake. If you're going to use that to do all of your tenant screening or something, you got to make sure that it's set up with fair rules, not just like your rules, right? It's just got to be fair.
I just wonder how we'll regulate AI. Like so many people, remember when the internet first came out and you would Google something? Well, it must be true.
Yeah.
And we come to find out it ain't true, right? You can literally Google anything and it's going to spit out something that is not facts.
Right.
That's the only thing I lose sleep over with AI is I put something in AI. I use ChatGPT all the time. I'm sure a lot of us do. Yeah. And it spits back an answer. Yeah. But is that answer true?
I know.
That's the only thing I worry about. Yeah.
Yeah. The same is true for like, we saw this during COVID, right? Companies like Open Door and OfferPad, they make offers, or Zillow at the time, they make an offer based on a computer algorithm.
Yep.
Right. Well, the computers didn't predict a pandemic. Shocking. Did anybody? You know what I mean? Like, I still can't believe we lived through that. But so like those things happen, and the computer was wrong and made a bunch of predictions that didn't work out, right? And it cost these companies billions of dollars as a result of like bad data going out. So I think it's like, you got to be really careful with these logarithms, right? And like, that's why we've been like very careful with ours, is like, we don't want to like put the wrong number on a property, right? And that's why we review everything with human eyes before we send it out still, is because I don't quite trust it yet, right? Like our deviation from a human to what our AI does is 3%, which is really good. Like industry-wide, like that is a really strong number, but it's still not 100%. You know, but even humans aren't 100%. You know, you and I could evaluate an asset and we're both going to have a different price on it. We just are. That's how it is. You know, so there's no like set rule, set way. There is some subjectivity to valuation. And so I think you use it to filter, you use it to like get things to a certain point, but then put human eyes on it still, you know, to make sure that it's dialed in.
You know, I don't want to forget our agent side of the house, right? Because investors can use AI to help them. All the things we just talked about on this episode. But can you dive in just a tad for our listeners that are agents, real estate agents, on how they can use AI?
Yeah. You know, we've done some of that this year, right? With our AI calling and texting and emailing. I mean, our tool, like if you're an agent and you submit to Easy Street Offers, you're getting a call from an AI back. Like that's what you're getting. And you wouldn't really know. It's giving you everything you want. And you wouldn't really know that it was an AI tool. And so I think from a marketing standpoint or a scalability standpoint, if you're a single agent, team, whatever, the ability to lean into the AI tool to help you with your communication is awesome. You know, and like there's some really cool ones, like products like Fellow is a cool one. Those guys use a ton of AI to filter through your CRM to surface, you know, the people that you should be talking to, the most active people. Companies like HomeBot have been doing that for years, right? Like predicting when people are most likely to sell because of their behavior. And like, you know, not that you're big brothering your customer, you're just trying to serve them better, faster, you know? And I think that stuff's going to get really, really cool and help agents, you know, thrive is getting them closer and closer to like optimization or, you know, whole efficiency. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, what have you heard is coming next? You know, like when I know what's coming next, and I feel like we're on the leading edge of that here at Easy Street. Because one is I feel like our product is an end-to-end services. One of the first things we started out maybe a year ago is we never wanted our investors, we never wanted our agents to come to us and say, I love this, but I need this, and we had to turn them away. And that's why we partnered with so many different groups. What do you see coming in the next couple of years from an AI perspective on that?
Yeah, I think that, you know, as the closer that deviation, that 3% deviation gets, like you could see a world where we would see a fully AI-driven investment platform. You know, it's going to get smart enough. You know, what it does right now, like one of the cool things that we're working on is, you know, looking at pictures of properties and then converting those pictures into renovation numbers. Like that's just amazing. But what's cool about it from like my perspective is that it doesn't mess up. It never misses something. Like it doesn't, it's only, it isn't, it's, you know, it may not be 100% accurate, but it's going to be really close, you know? And if you could do that at scale, you're now winning, you know? So I think you're going to see, you know, full AI-driven investment platforms out there. I think you're going to see a ton of use of like blockchain for AI and, you know, creating more of a transparent transaction. You know, title companies deal with fraud so much, you know, and they deal with so many people trying to like steal wires and different things like that. Blockchain solves that, you know, and it really does. And I think you're going to see more and more, you know, adoption of that because the burn is just too bad anymore. And then, you know, especially in like property management systems, I think that you're going to get to a world where that becomes like super efficient. You know, you could see a world where like you've got a button on everything in the house, and if you're struggling with a window, you just hit the fix me button, and it requests a a service, out to help you fix your window or
Yeah.
your leaky faucet or whatever, like I could see all of that coming down the line pretty quickly.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
I will tell the audience, and they know it, it's here to stay.
Yeah.
So you might as well join on board.
Yep.
In fact, all appliances now, have you noticed they say AI on it?
Yeah.
Right? I remember when I used to work for Sears back in the day, and we were talking about this coming, where your refrigerator, the water filter, would not only just alert you, it would order another filter.
Yeah.
Just because you connected to the internet.
Right.
That's all this is doing. It's
great.
Right?
Yeah.
So take
great.
advantage of AI
Yeah.
when you're looking at real estate investment. It's just going to help you make better decisions at the end of the day.
Way more educated decisions for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Doors. We hope you found today's insights valuable for your real estate investing journey.
Remember, real estate success doesn't happen overnight, but with the right tools and strategies, you can build long-term wealth and create passive income.
If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with others who are passionate about real estate investing.
Don't forget to follow us on social media for more tips and exclusive content.
Until next time, keep unlocking new opportunities, and we'll see you on the next episode of Behind the Doors.